Hello, so this is a story on UFO Con. And that's not supposed to be
Low battery.
that they're conning you. It's supposed to be the UFO stories in the UFO community. So I'm at the UFO Con 2017 at the South San Francisco. There's a lot going on, some workshops. I'll be doing a full report later. Okay, so this year's UFO Con South San Francisco. What's going to be something that you're not expecting, and if you've been halfway paying attention to UFOs and aliens, you're going to be surprised. Some of the people that are really into UFOs and aliens are surprised. The highest ranking persons trying for disclosure with an unlimited amount of resources that got nowhere, and there's a paper trail, are the Clintons. Bill Clinton, both terms in office, Hillary Clinton, and President Obama. This was learned at UFO Con 2017. The link for the paper trail I have. They have documents that you can go through. These are the breadcrumbs for UFO disclosure. And it's an old saying that if there's nothing there, then why are there so many people complaining about it? Where there's smoke, there's fire. How many one-liner cliches can you come up with, right? The Clintons. Podesta, who was through all of the Clinton, he was going to be Secretary of State. He was in charge of trying to get these UFO documents out. Another big name, and you're going to really be blown away by this, is George Stephanopoulos. He was in charge of a little program called the Lawrence Rockefeller Initiative. And I'm going to show you the clips. So this is the Rockefeller Initiative website, with all the documents and the paper trails. So these are the players, and it went from 1993 to 1996. George Stephanopoulos is there. He took a high-paid job as a journalist. So these researchers are also involved, and so these are the qualified people, right? Every one of them are very high qualified. Then there's a treasure trove of documents. And this archive has been available for quite some time. And each of these documents are really provocative. So they're trying to, so there's breadcrumbs about something going on that they found evidence for. And each of these documents opens up their own can of worms. And you could see how many personalities are involved. So you see how many documents are involved. Some of the documents you may recognize, some of the documents you won't recognize. Some of the projects, all kinds of interlinking. So it is those one-liners that you hear, where there's smoke, there's fire, thou complained too much. So a lot of these are in the Clinton Library. So the news stories in the mainstream media exploded at that time. There's also a trail of the mainstream news. All the news was covering UFOs and disclosure at that time. And you could look it up. It's the Rockefeller Initiative. Hello, this is Christopher. I'm going to be covering a very complex issue and involving something that's very controversial. Here at UFO Con on location, and it's the second day, and I've attended my second lecture on aliens and abduction, and so far these two lectures were about aliens in the astral projection realm, that they're encountering aliens in astral travel. I did attend a lecture where I was completely taken by surprise of who was behind disclosure, and I'll put those links up in the video, and it has to be presented more thoroughly when I have my video editing software. But I was not expecting those high-ranking individuals to be involved in disclosure, and that those people will be a surprise to you.
Extraterrestrials, hidden agendas, conspiracies. Our planet is being visited, and it is causing a very startling and incredible change in the way we view life, the way we see life. That we're not just alone, we're not just impartial, but we're in fact part of a vast, incredible community. Today we're going to have Douglas Taylor, who's going to talk to you about the hidden agenda. What's behind the curtain of all of these things? Our belief systems, how do we perceive all this? I think you're going to find this really remarkable. He's been in contact in the desert, with Conscious Life Expo, so many other expos all over. We had to invite him. This was a big demand for Douglas Taylor.
So, my name is Douglas Taylor, as you all probably know. Just a little bit of history as to why I guess I am up here to a certain extent would be that I did have an encounter when I was in the Caribbean islands back in 1978 that completely and totally changed my life. many people talk about events that change their life, and it's always a difficult proposition to try to understand all of the different experiences, which is the history of what has taken place in my life since that experience in 1978. So it's been an evolution of learning what to me has become an understanding that there is not only an extraterrestrial presence that are influencing individuals on this planet, both positive and negative. I'm not going to talk about the negative ones, other than to say that each of us has to deal with the fears, with the anxieties, with whatever else junkie than I am, or science fiction junkie than I am. I mean, there'll be like a massive horror show on, and I'll turn it on, and Serena will come in, oh, you can't watch that, it's terrible stuff. I just want to see some weird looking aliens, So it's not that I'm just not afraid of that. That sense of fear isn't really very strong in me. NASA, we found 7 planets, 3 we can live on, and there's enough room for everyone. The problem with that is that obviously NASA isn't capable of really transporting anybody to any of those planets. They can barely even figure out where they are, or if there is the possibility of life as we know it to be able to function there. And so what I'm saying about these particular elements, they're political, they're divisive. We have this two-sided argument that goes on, which really in itself, whenever we allow ourselves to get heated up and drawn into that debate emotionally, not intelligently, not philosophically, emotionally, whatever side you're on, if you supported, either one, Hillary or Trump, you are allowing yourself to basically recreate that same anxiety, that same energy, that same anger in a way that is actually going to take away from your ability to see past the basic collusion of all sides. The great conspiracy. What is the great conspiracy? It's not the liberals and the conservatives. It's not either one. It has nothing to do with that. The great conspiracy is the nature of how each one of us has become programmed to see something like the Matrix, that life as we know it has specific physical characteristics, and those are the only really important ones, and that there is a way to break through that. I won't go into the other part. The other part, the negative aspect, I think is something that we all have to break down as a process of understanding our own minds, our own thoughts, and understanding how the fear factor can be worked out. Because that's what I've worked on, and that's what I've had some success with. So I just don't have a lot of fears that I used to have. So this individual in the middle, he began to communicate with me telepathically, and then one of the statements that I'll just read is they were telling me a little bit about their starship and how it works, and about how the actual process of interstellar flight is possible. We obviously have science fiction ideas about it, warp drives, all different kinds of concepts, worm drives, wormholes. And this is what he described to me in my consciousness. This is all in my book, by the way. I wrote out this experience, and it's been around for a while. The workings of our starship function according to certain principles that could be likened to the very movement of creation itself. As all energy moves in waveform patterns, so do the countless thoughts that course through your mind move and function in the same manner and way. What to you appears to be fantastic or unbelievable, to us is a reality that we have included in our own particular realizations and concepts. As you see us as fantastic beings, bordering on the limits of your imagination, in actuality we are humble participants, riding the life stream and helping our brothers in lesser states of awareness to awaken to their true nature. We are truly brothers to humanity and are looking to the future when your people can accept us and desire us to land our spacecraft on the planet's floor. Then you too can join with us as working members of this great cosmic mind. And so, I mean, after I had this experience, I'd say the first, 10 years after I had it, I would just be having one dream, one incredible, powerful dream experience after another, where I'd be seeing on television, I'd be watching television, the aliens had landed, this whole incredible positive thing was happening. But the timeline, obviously, is the factor. The timeline has to be put in a position where the people on that civilization are ready to make that type of contact. And how do we do that other than through changing the nature of our attitudes and beliefs from the warmonger mentality to something that incorporates the belief that Jesus Christ was trying to basically relate to everyone.
Do we all have these experiences, but we just don't remember them?
That's correct. In fact, remember I showed you the slide and I said that shadow thing is your soul and you don't have control over it? We have these 7 bodies, which I'll get into more tomorrow, but basically these things, it's almost like they're running their own lives. They have their mission, they have their things they have to accomplish and do, and you're, like, mentally you're not really connected. So
Melinda Leslie is with us today, and that's incredible because she travels all over. She has her own TV show, coast to coast. You were just on Fade the Block with Jimmy Church. She travels all over, and she's one of the most startling and intelligent speakers in that she takes apart sort of the hidden agenda of what's going on with extraterrestrials. Think of it, you're sitting on the cusp of the single greatest event in the course of human history, and you guys get it and show up for something like this, while the rest of the world doesn't have a clue. Doesn't that strike you as leaders amongst your community? So her program today is the covert program of reverse engineering extraterrestrial abductees. Experience, evidence, and implications are absolutely out of this world. Brace for impact, because this is the incredible Melinda Leslie.
And I admit, I'm going to get out of timer really quick because I know how I am. Just when you think you're all together. So welcome everyone, thank you for coming. So I don't have to lean over like that, I think. Yeah, but I don't have to lean into the, of this one, I'd rather hold it, maybe not, okay. I'll just do this, there we go, okay. All right, so everyone can hear me okay if I back off a minute, okay. All right, very good. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm Melinda Leslie, and this title, as you said, is this lecture is the Covert Program of Reverse Engineering Extraterrestrial Abductees, often referred to as YLABs in the abduction and UFO research communities. And this is all about the experiences, the evidence, and the implications. I have a lot to cover really fast, so I admit I'm going to be moving quickly. And did that not work? The timer not going? No, it's going, it just doesn't want to stay. Okay, so my research is an ever-evolving state of research. Ufology is an ever-evolving. If someone comes and says, oh, I just heard all those people 5 years ago, they only say the same thing. You're not keeping up with the field. This field changes constantly. Right now, I'm going to do a comparative cases. This almost looks like the same person, the same case. These are two separate people who live in other areas who have these vans parked outside their home monitoring them. And like I said, I just got another picture. This is from an abductee drawing this of helicopter harassment over a trailer park, being followed by a dark car with tinted windows, having a gentleman pull up next to her and photograph her for no reason. ETs present, even though they were removed by humans as opposed to removed by ETs. They're having abductions by human military only without ETs present. But because they're alien abductee and contactees that they are even having that experience. There's mind control procedures with intimidation, fear inducement, hypnosis, and drugs administered. There's in-depth interrogations and debriefing procedures. They're being roughed up and physically abused. They're having medical and genetic procedures, exploratory surgery, removal of possible alien fetuses, and possible cloning experiments going on in these events. There's the testing and demonstration of psychic and paranormal abilities going on in these covert human events. There's the involvement with the abductee, with the intelligence community, with what people would either call insiders, and what another abductee, I'll get into this a little more later, terms minders, where you're being minded, like, watched, followed, but also having your life directly interfaced with, again, the personal life of the abductee. And the abductees and contactees are being recruited into covert programs, sometimes willingly, consciously, and or unwillingly and unconsciously. So here's just a couple pictures about, this is just a few evidentiary pictures of some of the stuff that happens that I just mentioned. There's black helicopter harassment, and there's actually a craft in the sky too, so they got the UFO and the helicopter harassing them at the same time, circling them low. There's vans. I just got a new one that someone sent to me on the Facebook page for the organization FREE, the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters. I think that's the last time I'm going to say it. Like that. I'll get tongue-tied. But someone just sent me a great picture that it was a still frame from a surveillance video camera, security camera on their home, and it's great. It's another picture, unfortunately I didn't get to add to this, of another person who had a black van with tinted windows parked outside of their home. But gosh, if it doesn't look just like these, and these are from two separate cases, this almost looks like the same person, the same case. These are two separate people who live in other areas who have these vans parked outside their home monitoring them. And like I said, I just got another picture. This is from an abductee drawing this of helicopter harassment over a trailer park, being followed by a dark car with tinted windows, having a gentleman pull up next to her and photograph her for no reason, and black vans, again, coming up behind her house. She was out laying outside in the stage lounge, and these guys dressed all in black came, sprayed something in her face, and she had an abduction with them. This is one of my own drawings from my own experience of being in an underground base and being escorted en naturel on an elevator with a military guard. And this is another abductee, again in an underground base, seeing abductions by human military only in this case, and they were at a control panel and she was in this situation with them and drew that picture. And yet another abductee drew this of a large military installation near a body of water, and these large cigar ships, very large, that's in UFO sighting lore, there's various shapes that are known, and one of the many shapes often seen is a long cylinder, often referred to as a cigar ship in shape. So don't worry if you can't read it in the back of the room and everything. Pretty much everything I'm sharing with you guys probably know, especially if you're sitting in front. I'm pretty much reading what's up there. I admit, it's how I cheat when I do my lectures. Keeps me on track. Okay, so on Monday, May 20th, 2013, I woke in my hotel room at the Super Soldier Conference, stopped up, my nose stopped up, and blew my nose to find a slight amount of blood and new scab-like material coming out. Monday morning, while in the shower, I noticed bruises on my forearms, over my forearms, and I wondered how I got them, and it crossed my mind that there may have been some sort of experience since I couldn't account for the bruises. My roommate there, a friend of mine, went with me to the conference. She actually went to gamble, but since I had a hotel room paid for, thanks to Lorianne, who was the producer of that conference. So I'll call her S. I'll call everyone just by their first initial. S had come to the conference with me and we're rooming together. I showed her the bruises, and while they weren't very dark, she saw them very clearly. And to this day will attest to the fact she saw the bruises. And then another person involved in the event, another speaker there who was also one of the group taken, I'll call her E. When E, another speaker, first mentioned the experience on Monday, I had some immediate recall and was remembering what happened. E showed me photos of a broken door safety latch on her hotel room door and another hotel room door of another person involved. She said that J, I'll call him that, J's door latch was broken the same way, and there was photos of it. I had a visceral reaction when E told me something had happened, and I told her about the bruises on my arm and my bloody nose that morning. And I showed her my left arm bruising when she then rolled up her sleeve, and she had bruises and showed me hers on her arm. She had the same bruises I did. The night of the event, I was woken in my hotel room with the door opening out to the hallway, and two men entered. There was some kind of electronic pulse with a snapping sound that was keeping my roommate S asleep. They had to shake me hard many times, shake me many times to wake me up and override the sound, and then to get me to stay awake. S, my roommate, remained sound asleep. The only light in the room was from the hallway. It's, hotel hallway, so the hallway's well lit. Hotel hallway outside, and it took my eyes a few minutes to adjust. E had said we were taken into a yellow van. Infamous scoop mark on somebody's leg. This is actually the left picture, is one of my pictures, a scoop mark on my leg. Actually, 2 years ago, I had my last ET experience was 2 years ago, but I had this new scoop mark, and this was the very next day, so that's healed, marked like that the very next day after the experience. A case of mine had this mark on his neck. I've now have a couple other people, I'm trying to get photos from them that say they've had this exact same mark on their neck after an experience. Cookie cutter, little hole. This is someone who had this burn, these are burn patterns on the back of their hand after an abduction. Again, this is a little burn mark, but it's a perfect straight line of little marks going up their leg. The late Roger Lear did 17 surgical removals of alien implants. These were 2 of them. And they have these little wires and filaments coming off of them.
So, as you can tell, by the end of the second day, the material was a horror show. Like, the abductions and the military involvement of the abductees. Like, it's the classic, everyone kind of knows, like the scoop marks, the burn marks, missing time. The statistics for how many people are being abducted are staggering. whoever is responsible for both military abductions, alien abductions, they know what the percentage of the population they have to maintain their numbers at to keep it from being well known. And they're pushing that number. Like, they know, you know, for a population of 10,000, they know how many they can abuse their power with and get away with it, you know. So if they're certain that you're being abducted by aliens, the government, whoever, whatever government, military, whoever they are in the government, they're going to get that person and strip you down and drug you and take you into a variety of different debriefing bases all over the world, and these are bases near your town. And so, and there's so there's the ET abductions, the military abductions, and what they're going over is there's a third group that is mixed ET, and they're saying American military is working with extraterrestrials. Now, what's interesting is that the people that are being abducted, where they see a military uniform, they're not familiar with the military uniform, what military it is. So you're kind of wondering, what is this that's happening to these poor people? And then there's a handful of doctors that are removing the implants placed by extraterrestrials and an unknown military contingent. A hidden military of some kind. Somewhere. So this is what the people keep trying to get disclosed, is who are these people that are conducting this obviously illegal activity, and no one could get anywhere with this disclosure of what is happening.